One of the reasons why I started documenting our own journey to move abroad is because when I was going online on YouTube, I would see a lot of videos of people who had moved abroad already, but I wanted to see videos of people actually preparing for the move abroad, like how they pack, how they decide on the destination and all of that. So that's one of the reasons why I decided to turn on the camera and show you guys the behind the scenes of the planning process of how to figure out the destination, the scouting trip, all of these things. And as we are progressing in that journey, which has been over a year now, I want to share some of the things that you absolutely must do as you prepare for your move abroad, as you think about your move abroad, and the things that you can do even if you don't really know where to go yet. Okay, so I'm going to share 7 must-do, 7 commandments, if you want, of what to do as you prepare for your move abroad. Okay, let's do it. So as always, I have my notes here. So if I look down, it's because I don't want to miss any details of what I have planned to share with you. But number 1, absolutely necessary. You absolutely need to be in a community that is supportive, a community that is like-minded, and ideally a community of people who actually want to move abroad as well. So how do you find like-minded people who also want to move abroad? Believe it or not, they are pretty much everywhere online if you do the search. You have Facebook groups, and I can recommend a few Facebook groups. I'm going to link them in the description of this video. A few Facebook group I belong to where people can ask questions, where people can actually share their experiences as they are preparing for their move abroad, and also where people who already moved abroad can share their experiences and all of that. Okay, so I can think of the Exodus Summit Facebook group. I can think of a few Blaxit groups as well. You can also use apps just like the Expat app, as well as paid communities like the Blaxit Global membership. And that's a place where you are guaranteed to be surrounded by like-minded people who can support your journey and your exploration for a journey abroad. Because let's face it, not everybody in our surrounding will understand why we even want to move abroad. So it's very, very important. That's why I said as number 1, very, very important to be surrounded with people who actually think alike and people who have a similar vision as you and who can really support you as you take this crazy decision of moving abroad. Number 2 is to do your research. Again, here social media has everything you need. So doing all the Googles, looking on YouTube, looking in Facebook groups, looking on Instagram, TikTok, all the social media platforms, you will find people who are doing the things that you want to do. And even if they're not doing the exact same thing as you, just like, for example, in my case, a family of 6, originally from Africa, but now American and moving to Cote d'Ivoire in an English-speaking system for their kids, that's very detailed, right? So I might not find the exact same family online who's doing the same thing as us, but I can find other families who are going through the similar journey, let's say in Ghana and South Africa, or even if it's not a family, but somebody who's going to Cote d'Ivoire, for example. So there's a lot of people you can get inspiration from. But at the end of the day, something very important I want you to remember is not just to rely on what other people are saying, what they're telling you, what they're telling you to do and how things are, but you need to do your own research. For example, somebody would say, oh, well, it's pretty cheap to live in, let's say, Ghana. Well, okay, do your own research. How would that look like for you and your family, your own setting? Maybe they're living off the grid and that's why it's cheap for them to live there. But even though I'm not personally interested in going to Accra, but research shows that Accra is a very expensive city to live in, mostly if you want to be in the city center, okay? So do your own research and don't just rely on other people's opinions. Number 3, super important in this process, this is a must do. You absolutely need to take action. Whatever small action you can take today, yes, today, like as you are watching this video, when you end this video, you need to do one small thing. Maybe it's researching, maybe it's decluttering your closet, maybe it's donating things, maybe it's deciding on the destination, maybe it's talking to somebody, maybe it's checking out the US Embassy's website at that destination. Whatever the situation is for you, you absolutely need to take action, all right? So it doesn't have to be big, but if you're able to do something a little more than just a small step, how about booking a scouting trip if you already know your destination or possible destinations? Book the scouting trip. You can also apply for a remote job or start your own business. Talking about business, if you want to know more about how you can start your own location independent business just like I have, well, I invite you to check out the details in the description of this video. I'm also going to put a link right here for you. Okay. Also, starting a savings account, starting investing as well. So you can do small things or you can do bigger things. But as long as you're taking action, you are making progress. Even if you don't have a departure date yet, The small or big actions that you're taking today, one at a time, is going to get you closer to being more confident on a date where you can go and have a smoother move abroad process. Number 4, this is also very important, and it's actually kind of a pet peeve of mine when I see people do that or not do that in communities like in Facebook groups, and that's not asking the right questions. Okay, you know what's important for you, and you have to be able to ask very specific questions. It just gets on my nerves when people go on Facebook groups and they're like, well, I'm tired of being here, I want to leave this country and I want to go somewhere whether I have a budget of, let's say I have a budget of $3,000 a month, where can I go? And people are like, what do you want us to do with this information? Okay, we know you want to leave, so we know you have $3,000 per month that you can spend, but what are your criteria? What do you want? Are you living by yourself, or are you living with a family, only with kids? Do you have a remote job? Are you going to rely on your business? There are so many things that are missing in this question, and so you have to be able to ask the right question for your own specific case. It goes beyond cost of living, because what's important for you might not be important for other people. So if you're a woman, you have to look at things like women's safety or gender roles, or maybe in terms of religion and cultural practices, or even disabilities. For example, if you have a disability, or if you have a child with a disability, whether it's physical or mental, all these things are specific to you, will inform the kind of questions that you can ask in a Facebook group. And with the right questions, then you can get the right answers. But if you're just asking general, broad questions, then you can't really get the right answer that applies to your case, okay? So start asking the right question. Number 5, in the same vein, is knowing exactly what you want. You need to have a list of criteria of things that are important for you. And again, what's important for you may not be important for me. What's important for you may not be important for other people, even somebody in your family. Like, even if you want to move with your spouse and your children, maybe for your spouse, something is super important for them, but it's not really that important for you, okay? So you have to know these things, write them down, make a list of your non-negotiables and the things that you're like, you know what, that could be okay. I'm okay if we don't have this and if we have this instead, okay? For example, what are your non-negotiables in terms of language? Are you willing to go to a French-speaking, Spanish-speaking, or German-speaking country? Like, are you willing to do that? Are you willing to learn another language, or do you know another language, okay? Other thing, cost of living, like we said, and specifically for your situation. Are you a solo traveler, or are you moving with your family? The cost of living is going to be totally different depending on your family structure. If you're moving with kids, what kind of schools are available? Are you going to homeschool? Are you going to put them in local schools? Are you going to put them in international schools? And the cost as well associated with these schooling options, is that okay with you? Something else very important is the weather. Are you okay going to a destination where it gets really, really cold at some point during the year? Or do you want a location where the weather is pretty mild year round? Okay, so these are important things to take into consideration, and that will actually help you decide on your destination. So again, I'm not telling you that you have to know your destination for sure, because even us, we have 2 top choices, Cote d'Ivoire and Cameroon. But as of now, we're not 100% sure about where we're going to end up. So you don't have to have one destination in mind. That makes me think of another YouTuber couple who is going through the same process as well, H&D Abroad. I'm going to link their channel here because they are amazing, because they share their thought process as well as they are scouting different destinations from Mexico to Spain to Morocco as well. And they are taking us through that journey of, you know, what they like, what they don't like, and what they're really looking for as a couple. Okay, so same thing for you. You don't have to have like your one destination. If you do, great, but if you don't, that's okay at this point. I just want you to know what your list of criteria is and start making a list. Let's say your top 5. And then one of your action steps is going to be to go and take a scouting trip into these 5 destinations if you can. So again, make sure you have a list of your must-have. If you're by yourself, they're all about you. If you're in a family situation, make sure you take your spouses and your children's choices into consideration as well. All right. Number 6 is super important. I mean, they're all important, but this one It's kind of like the foundation of everything. Number 6 is about believing that it's possible. Like I said in number 1, you have to be surrounded with other like-minded people who are also working in that process of moving abroad. A lot of people around you might not understand what you're trying to say. They might discourage you. They might project their fears into you so that you stay comfortable in the environment you are. But at the same time, I want you to understand that fear is not the problem, okay? Just because you have fear doesn't mean that you cannot do it. You can still do it with the fear that you have. Everyone who's doing something courageous and something bold, they still feel some kind of fear around it, but they still take action and they still believe that it's possible and they still go for it. They still do it in spite of the fear. And this is what I want for you. I want you to be able to acknowledge the fear. It's okay to have fear. It's okay to have doubts, okay? We all do. I do, right? But just because you have these fears doesn't mean that you cannot do it. So go back to number 1 and be in community, supportive community of like-minded people who can actually support you and tell you that it's possible because they are going through it as well, and because some of them have done it as well, and they're there to cheer on you and encourage you. Number 7, I want to close with this one, and this is something that a lot of people will forget, and that will also create a lot of fear because they don't take this point into consideration. Number 7 is remembering that it's not an all or nothing situation. Just because you decide on a destination doesn't mean that this has to be your destination for good. It's okay to change your mind. It's okay to go somewhere and not liking it and then coming back or going somewhere else. It's totally okay. You don't have to make a decision that is going to change the course of your life. Yes, it's a big change. Yes, it's a big move in some cases. But at the same time, it's okay to be flexible. It's okay to not like it, like I said, or it's okay to just want to change your mind. That's totally fine. It takes the pressure off, and it also allows you to stay there for a shorter amount of time than you had planned, or even change the destination, like I said. Okay, so don't feel the pressure to lock in one destination and be there until you retire or until you die. It doesn't have to be that way. So take the pressure off and pick your destination. If you don't like it, that's fine. You can be there for a year if you want and then move on to a new destination. That's totally okay. So I hope that these 7 points have given you some inspiration, but also giving you some courage to go for it. And like I said in the beginning of the video, this is what I was looking for when I was searching for other families moving abroad like 2-3 years ago when I was looking on YouTube. People who would tell me about their process, people who would tell me how it's like, their fears and all the things they're going through. And I want to share this as we are going through this process as well. I want you to remember these things because those are the things that are helping us. Those are the things that are sustaining us as we are preparing for this move abroad. Is it scary? Yes, it is for so many reasons, but that doesn't mean that it's not possible to do, okay? Same for you. You can do it. If you have more questions, if you need some support with that, feel free to leave a comment below or even reach out through IG if you want to talk to me directly. In the meantime, as always, make sure you like this video if you like it, share it with a friend, and subscribe to the channel. That way you don't miss any of our video progress as we are preparing for this move abroad. I encourage you to watch this next video right here where I tell you more about how to pick your destination for your move abroad. Until next time, bye.